The following is an exclusive presentation of Jessup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
And good morning to you. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO FM in Jessup, 105.5 on your FM dial, Big Dog Country Radio. Butch Hubbard here with you, along with Bob Morgan, on this Monday morning, the second day of March. And we do appreciate you waking up and making us part of your day. All right, here he is. Let's get him on the air. All right, we're going to get you on the air right now with Bob. Go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's Mondays with Stephen Meeks. And Stephen, how you doing today?
Doing well. How about you today?
I'm doing great. Tell us what's taking place in Atlanta. I'm getting a lot of...
Well, we are a little over halfway. We are, today will be, I guess, the 22nd day of session, so we're a little over halfway in the 40-day session. Looking forward to a crossover day, which will be on March the 12th, and that's pretty significant, in the fact that if legislation has any chance of making it to the governor's desk this year, it has to have passed either the House or the Senate by adjournment on March the 12th to continue through the process. So a lot of things left to do. Still waiting on Senate to finalize the amended budget, and obviously the big budget is the other part of that we've got to get to work on, and other good pieces of legislation working its way through the process.
Well, before we get to the budget, let's talk about the legislation. What do we need to know? What's going to cross over? What are some of the key
Well, I think one
issues?
of the things that's most important to District 178 is a provision, or at least a bill that I have, on coal ash fees. And 2 years ago, the legislature adopted legislation that would increase fees for municipal waste, but delayed the implementation of that increase on coal ash. I dropped a bill and was heard in committee on Friday of last week in the Energy and Natural Resources Subcommittee. That would increase that tipping fee to $2.50 per ton, and then would also decrease the amount of fees collected from the tipping fee. That there's a 50% requirement that those fees be 50% of those fees, be used for a long list in the legislature in the law. And what we did is we took that down to 10%. To give local host communities more flexibility over the revenues received from the landfill. So I expect that to be in full committee this week, if not next. We're waiting the return of the chairlady whose husband passed away last week. So as soon as she returns, I expect that to move forward. So there's a couple other coal ash bills out there. Representative Vance Smith has one on well monitoring. He's from over on the west side of the state. And I anticipate that one will move as well. So we'll continue to work and continue to pass good legislation, hopefully, that's going to have a positive impact on our residents.
Let's go on to the budget. As at the school board meeting, School Superintendent Jay Brinson said he was up in Atlanta. The conversation up there is that the governor may make an adjustment on that $2,000 pay raise, that they may just give $1,000 or they may hold off to next year. What are you hearing about that?
There are some options to try to achieve that. I haven't heard anything directly from the governor's office regarding that, but in terms of trying to make it work within the budget, we may have to be creative on how we do that. Whether that, as you previously mentioned, either that means doing 1,000 this year and then finalizing it next year, or however those numbers can work within the budget. But I haven't heard directly from the governor's office, but we'll obviously be taking a look at that to make sure we can meet the obligations of the state and the services that we provide, and yet continue to reward our teachers with a much-deserved pay raise that they deserve.
And what else do we need to know about? Like I said, as you mentioned, it's a busy time. What else do you see crossing over the aisle?
Well, a couple of things that we also did last week. We passed, passed some legislation dealing with senior care and giving some more directive to facilities that our loved ones are in, and making sure that we have the best care for them. So we passed that last week. I anticipate that will make it over to the Senate, and hopefully they'll get that done as well. So we, again, we go back to the big budget, and we've got to finalize that for the FY20 year. as well, and making sure that we're doing what needs to be done. We also have already passed through the House some revisions to the hemp bill that received a lot of attention last year. We've also waiting on the Senate to work through House Bill 545, which is a right to farm bill that has gotten some attention that allows protects landowners and producers as well, and making sure that we're doing what we need to be doing responsibly with the environment and our neighbors, and also giving neighbors the opportunity, if there's a complaint, to file that complaint and work through it. So a lot of legislation getting to move. I expect the pace to pick up this week with legislation getting to the floor from the respective committees as we work toward crossover day.
You know, I asked Blake and I asked Bill, I asked you, I'm curious, the governor makes this proposal for the budget, and then the legislators put the cuts back in. They don't want those cuts. So does the governor have a counter proposal, or does he just, try to readjust the budget with the cuts putting back in?
Well, in the way that excuse me there, the way that it all works is the governor will create a budget and then send it to the House for the beginning of that process. So the governor's role in it is a proposal for the state agencies, and constitutionally, any spending bill begins in the House, and it's the responsibility of the House and the Senate to work through those. Obviously, we work hand in hand with the governor to make sure that we're addressing the needs and the services that are to be provided by our state agencies to the taxpayers of our state. But we must also do it in the right way, and there's always going to be disagreements on how we achieve that. But the good thing is we'll work together and work through it and make sure that we're doing the right thing. One of those things that I mentioned, I believe last week, is that one of the cuts was within the Department of Agriculture for food safety inspectors, and obviously we have a challenge right now with food safety inspectors and the salary that they're paid, and the job that they do is very important, and we're short of those. So it's very important that we, as a state, make sure that we're providing that service, that is responsibility to make sure our food is safe and is inspected, and those that may be out of date is pulled off the shelves. So things like that are opportunities that we've got to look at to make sure that we're doing it the right way and putting our resources where they should be for the betterment of our state and our citizens.
And if you're just joining us, this is Monday with Meeks. Stephen Meeks on the phone with us. I'm curious, when the session first began, we heard the story about they were pushing to have the seatbelt law for the people in the back seat passed, but that's kind of faded away. Hadn't heard anything more about that. Has that just gone away?
It has quietened off, Bob. I haven't heard anything on that piece of legislation, as you mentioned, since the beginning of session. I'll talk around this week and see what I can gather on that. But there's been very little conversation on that, and since then.
It's just interesting, when the session first starts, you hear all these things, and then the session gets underway, and they just fall by the wayside. It's just funny to me.
Well, I think everybody gets busy, and those headlines that may hit before session gets started or as they get started, we get busy focused on a lot of important measures that are proposed, and sometimes they get bogged down in the process, and then get revived right before crossover day, seemingly. So. We'll follow that one, and I'll have an update next week for you as we get through the week.
And how soon do they start with the big budget?
Well, work has already started. The subcommittees are working to go ahead and get that crafted. They're working daily to put it together, and obviously as revenues are reported and as revenues are reported and things begin to roll in. They'll be able to make some adjustments to those. So, so the good thing is we'll hopefully be able to achieve what we need to.
Okay, Stephen. Well, again, we appreciate you being here every Monday.
Stephen,
Butch has something.
Yes, sir.
Butch Hubbard here. Do you get ready to see very many people from the Wayne County? Do they come up that way and visit?
Absolutely. We've had a great year, a great session with folks coming up from Wayne County. Actually, Austin Burgess was here paging in the house on Friday of last week, and his mom and dad were here. Reggie and Lisa, Dr. Reggie Burgess and Lisa, with him last week, and I think we had the county commissioners up last week. Commissioner McCurry was up, And so we are seeing a lot of folks come from Wayne County that do have a chance to stop in. Dr. Jay Brinson, as you mentioned, was up here, right across him in the hallways. And so we're seeing a lot of folks and really excited to see them. We see the lobbyists up here every day, but when folks come from home to let us know what's important to them, we just assume see and hear from you at home. And that's a great way to do that. So we are seeing a lot of folks and really excited about it.
That's got to be good for y'all because y'all are up there, all week long, and you're away from home and family, and to see a familiar face from Wayne County has got to make your day.
It really does. It makes us smile, quite honestly, when we see that familiar face from home and knowing that we are. It's a friendly face, and we know we can sit down and have a great conversation, much like Commissioner McCrary when he was up last week. We sat and had a great conversation about different things. But a lot of folks from home are friends, and it's always great to meet those that we haven't met that may make the trip up to visit with us on issues that are important to them. But yes, if anybody's coming up, we still have some page spots available. For students who are interested in paging, just give me a call, and we'll work that out as we continue to get more busy. The days get longer, and a lot more things happen on the floor. So it's a pretty exciting time for students to be up here. And as always, as folks are coming to Atlanta, please reach out and give us a call. I'd love to visit with them.
And what are the responsibilities and duties of the pages that help y'all out?
What they are is, pardon me. The pages coordinate messages coming from outside of the chamber when we're in session. Only those who have floor privilege are allowed on the floor during session. We can always bring visitors on the floor with passes to observe what's happening, but lobbyists are not allowed on the floor. So the pages, what they'll do is there's somebody outside that has an issue they would like to speak with us about. They'll send a message in through those pages, and they'll deliver it to the desk of the members, and then we'll return a note, or either we'll walk out with the page and they'll direct us to the individual that wants to speak with us. And also disseminating information through the chamber if we have handouts on a particular piece of issue that or on a particular issue that we want everyone to know about. They'll distribute those throughout the day to us as things are coming up. So they help us out a lot and bring messages in and out and providing information for us that's important for the day. And it's really neat to be on the floor with all the members at that time. And then we'll end the session with a picture with the Speaker of the House of Representatives and myself and the page. And so it's a great opportunity and a great experience for them. I hope we'll have some more to take us up on the offer and come up.
All this high-tech society, but you still need the runners, right?
Yes, sir. We still need folks to deliver handwritten messages, absolutely. And,
we're yeah, that is pretty funny. We got our new voting machines and all that kind of stuff. How do y'all vote when you're sitting there in the assembly and you gotta vote on a bill? I mean, do you press a button? How does that work?
Yes, sir. Our voting machine we have a card that we insert into the voting machine that lights up, or there at our desk to let us know that the number one that card is working. And when the speaker calls for a vote, the clerk will unlock the machines. And we have two screens in the chamber, one on the left and right sides of the chamber. And those screens will light up with everyone's name in the chamber, or all the elected members. And as we are voting, we hit red for no and green for yes. And at the time that we hit that button, it pops up on the screen, and so we know how everybody has voted as we are voting on a particular measure. And then the speaker will ask the clerk to lock the machines and record the vote. So it's a pretty quick process once a vote is called, but it's just a card that reads that it's us sitting at that desk, and red or green, and we move on. So that's how that process works, and it's live as well.
Yeah, no other colors like I'll think about it, or I'll get back with you, or not at this time.
Exactly. There's, on that machine, it's red or green. There is no in between. So.
Oh boy! So
exactly.
You talked about lobbyists a little while ago. A lot of people say, "Oh, lobbyists," they're people have a big negative thought about them, and for some, there are some good reasons for that. But in talking and working with legislators, both on a state level and on national level for many years, lobbyists they represent all kinds of group. I know as a board of directors, the chairman of the Georgia Association of Broadcasters and past chairman, we have a lobbyist that goes out there and talk about broadcasting issues. The insurance companies will, different municipalities will have that. So lobbyists can be a positive thing in terms of informing you in your office about things that concern them and the people they serve. Is that correct?
That is correct. I mean, lobbyists, I think, serve a very important role here and nationally, and there are some bad actors that we've seen in the past, but lobbyists have the opportunity to interact with us on a daily basis. And as you mentioned, broadcasters have a lobbyist. I mean, Association of County Commissioners have a lobbyist. So, I mean, anyone who has interest in Georgia, just about whether you know it or not, may have a lobbyist here in Atlanta, and they are great resources for information based on issues that are important to them or issues that may be coming to the floor. As much as we study and we are up to speed on legislation that's coming before the House, we may not know everything about a particular bill or how it impacts an industry or a group of individuals or however it may be viewed. But they provide a great service, I believe, in that they help educate the members on what a bill does. Now, as I've said in the past, I believe that good lobbyists will come in and tell you the positive things of the bill, and then they'll tell you the negative parts of it as well. They'll give you both sides of the bill. They'll tell you where the opposition will come from if it's very important to you to help navigate some of it. But they'll give you both sides of the story to help you fully understand what the issue may be at the time. So I believe that the lobbyists do provide a great service for their constituency and advocating for a position. And as you mentioned, it's for all issues across the board that folks are here in the Capitol representing.
We were supposed to have U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler on the Butch and Bob Show this past Friday, but she had to delay it a week and will be on this Friday. Have you had a chance to interact with her any?
I have. She was here earlier in the session, and pardon me. She was here earlier in the session at Wild Hog Dinner, and I had an opportunity to speak to her that evening. I haven't had a one-on-one conversation with her, but I know that she's doing extremely well and very interested in the issues that are pertinent to rural Georgia and Wayne County and others, particularly agriculture, and making sure that we're doing what we need to do there with broadband and others. So I know that she's extremely involved, and from what little bit of conversation I've had with her, I really like her. She connects very well with individuals as she's talking and getting around the state. So.
Okay. All right. Bob, any other final questions for Representative Meeks?
Yep. Just appreciate you being here on Mondays.
Well, thank you all. Appreciate you, and please let us know if we can help you in any way.
All right. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you.
Have a good day. All right, Representative Stephen Meeks here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, calling in live from Atlanta as he's getting ready for a busy day up there in the State House. Under the Gold Dome, Bob.
Pretty place.
Pretty place. Yes, sir. A big old gold dome up there. Been up there much?
Nope.
You haven't? Oh, I thought you might have.
I stay away from Atlanta if I can. Takes 45 minutes to go 5 miles.
I know, it's just, I said before, you're either going 18 miles an hour or 80 miles an hour through there,
They can have Atlanta.
Yeah.
You don't miss it.
You don't miss it at all. Don't miss it at all.
I like South Georgia.
I know, I do my best to try to stay away from there if I can. Because it's just, when you get used to traffic down here, it's a pain to drive through that traffic up there.
Every day. Bumper traffic.
I know. I've talked to folks who have been from South Georgia and they moved to Atlanta because that's where the jobs are for many folks and the companies they're working for. And they say, well, you just get used to it, Butch. And I said, I don't know how you get used to that. I really don't. But what do? Your job's there, your family's there. You just have to get in that traffic and go to it. Maybe that's the reason why so many people are excited about the self-driving cars and self-driving lanes where you could just get in it, and drink your coffee and, listen to the radio and eat your breakfast and do all that while your car's in that self-driving lane and it just takes you right there. Everybody's going at the same speed and maybe that'll be an answer for some of those congestion problems, Bob. You've said you'd like to have a self-driving car, right? You mentioned that before that you'd You'd like that you could just sit back and relax.
Sure. But I'm scared to death. I don't know if I could trust it. So, that's the only thing about it.
Yeah.
I just don't know how it works.
Yeah, I was watching part of a movie over the weekend called Blade Runner with Harrison Ford that came out in 1982. And the year that it was in the future, okay, was last year, 2019. And we are nowhere near the technological advancement that they thought that we were going to be in 1982 for 2019 in terms of the flying cars and androids and just so many different things that we're way behind on right now compared to what they thought we were going to be in 1982. And but we got a long ways to go before those flying cars get around. Long ways to go. They even thought that in Back to the Future. You know, Back to the Future, they all by now we'd have the flying cars.
Used to love the Jetsons. I used to think that'd be the thing to do. Just get in that little song.
Well, the Jetsons were up in space. Yeah. You know, they were up in space. You know, it's like in Community up in space. But yeah, it was great just getting those little flying cars and go from one building to another.
That'd be good.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Jetsons was fun to watch. Very, very fun to watch. Fun cartoon to watch, Bob.
They had a big impact on us because we had a German Shepherd. We called him Astro.
Oh, you called him Astro? Yeah, I kind of like the automated machines where you just stand up and you just go down the conveyor belt there, and it gives you a shower, and then it shaves you, and then it blows, and then it puts on your clothes and all that, and you just go out the other end, you know. So you just sit there and kind of sleepwalk through getting ready. That'd be fun, wouldn't it, Bob?
Be nice.
What were some of your other favorite cartoons?
That was like Fat Albert.
You like Fat Albert?
Yeah, Fat Albert.
Hey!
I love Fat Albert.
That was a funny cartoon.
I love Fat Albert.
Yeah, you like Flintstones?
Yep, like the Flintstones.
All those classic cartoons.
Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny was great.
Roadrunner was one of my favorites.
Yeah, that Coyote, you know, if you just...
Poor Coyote, you could never get him.
All he had to do was just, go buy food. You're spending all that money on all those rockets and everything. Yeah, but that was funny. Yeah, that was very funny. All the classic ones. And nobody ever got anything over on Bugs Bunny, you know. He always came out on top.
Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck. Looney Tunes was my favorite, you know.
Yeah, the Looney Tunes cartoons on Saturday mornings, yeah.
Good stuff. I still watch it every now and then. They still have the Cartoon Network, so.
Yeah, little Bobby sitting there in front of his TV, with his morning breakfast cereal.
Like I said, I can't watch all that political stuff, so I just watch cartoons.
Oh, yeah, my blood pressure goes up too much watching political stuff. But cartoons are a good release. It's good to watch those classic cartoons, as a kid, you don't know it, but as an adult, you take a look at some of those classic cartoons back from the 50s and 60s, and there's a lot of things in there that were kind of like Easter egg type things for adults. Kind of humor for that kids wouldn't catch, but adults do. But I watch some of the cartoons these days that my grandsons watch, when I'm over there with them, and I just can't get into them. They just, I don't know, I guess it's different generations and so forth. I just watch them and I just can't get into them. Where I guess the cartoons back when we were kids were more like slapstick comedy. Today they're more, I don't know, more serious in a sense. Yeah, a little different. Weird characters. Very weird characters. All right, you had a chance to go up to Atlanta this weekend to broadcast the baseball games of Wayne County, taking on 3 different teams from that area up there. 2 very competitive games that could have gone either way, and then another one that really slipped away from us. What'd you take from it, Bob, from watching those 3 games?
I said it's good competition. I took away, we got to throw strikes. Throw strikes, we win. We out-hit both teams the first 2 games. We definitely let the first game slip away. We just threw that game away. We had that game won 3-0, and just threw it away on walks and hit batters. Second game against Blessed Trinity, we had the golden opportunity, bases loaded, nobody out, didn't score. So third game was just a disaster in that 1 inning. They scored 8 runs on 2 hits. So a lot of walks and hit batters in that inning too. So I said, uncharacteristic of Wayne County. I said, pitching staff's better than that, but you got to throw strikes.
That's supposed to be our strong point right there.
But they go there to see good competition. We could have, The funny thing is, like I said, it was a foregone conclusion. It was going to be Blessed Trinity and Parkview playing for the championship game. And we're sitting there in the dogfight with Blessed Trinity. It was funny. A guy walked up there in the press box and said, "What's that score? Does that score say 4-3?" I
You expected to be 14-3,
yeah,
huh?
they thought Blessed Trinity was going to blow us out. So, I mean, we had a chance to play for the championship game. I said we just couldn't push any runs across except for the wild pitch. So that was frustrating. But, team, they go there just to see what the measuring stick is. Like I said, as Coach McDonald said, it's a work in progress, still trying to put it all together. Once they put it together, they should be fine. But, it's just frustrating not to get one of those wins.
We had both
when
you're so
games.
close. But the thing about
it's cold weather though too.
Cold was it cold? I was going to ask you about that.
I did get Parkview to get on board with my petition. They're like me. You need to be playing football this time of year, not baseball. So I lobbied them. I said, "You got
it'll warm up in the next week or two.
You got all these state championship banners. All these national championships. Why'd you get on board with me, HSA?" So
it ain't going to change, Bob.
They were ready to get on board. So I got Parkview High School on board with.
Well, you say it now in February, but you get into March and April, it'll be warmed up, and you'll say, "Hey, this is great baseball weather." Yeah. You're overreacting to the first February.
Maybe they just need to push the season back a couple of weeks then. How about that?
Well, you could do that, but the problem is it used to be could be that way, but people graduate in May now, not in June like they used to, Bob. Back when I graduated from high school, it was June. I don't know, probably you too.
I just know watching those fans. I mean, it had to be miserable.
It is cold.
Temperature in the upper 30s. I mean, that's not baseball weather. So
that's just the way it is, Bob.
I know.
You bundle up. You bundle up. Put them layers on.
You freeze to death.
You bundle up, Bob.
It's crazy.
I mean, you, a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
I told you I moved down south.
I know, where you see those Steeler fans out there just...
I don't miss the snow. I don't miss the cold weather. I don't miss any of that.
You don't miss it? You don't miss the snow?
No.
As a kid, you had to love the snow as a kid.
As a kid, but I don't miss it as
an adult. You don't. Yeah.
I really don't miss it as a kid too, because I was always the one that had to go out and get the snow off. Yeah.
Little Bobby out there scraping the sidewalk
Every
again.
Time it snows, sweep the sidewalk. Clear the driveway. It was always my job.
And you didn't get any more allowance for it, did you?
I got meals.
You got meals. Yeah, that was me. Allowance? You got a roof on your head and food on the table. What do you need allowance for?
So, my father took the theory, I brought you in this world, I can take you out. So I live by his rules. That's just the way it was.
Yeah, you're like me. You had a respectful fear of your dad. That's the way I was, too. A respectful fear.
These kids are threatening, I'm going to leave. I'm going to move out. I didn't, those words never touched these lips. I would have been out the door. He would have said, "No, don't let the door hit you on the way out."
And don't send a postcard.
So I never made that threat. I wasn't that stupid. Like I said, I was born at night, but not last night. I mean, come on.
Jeez. Have you been keeping up with American Idol any?
No.
They did a lot of the they did it in Savannah, and unlike in the previous year, this is the first time I've seen American Idol in years, but in the previous time they'd go to a town and to a city, and they'd do all the auditions there. Next week it'd be another town. Next week another town. What they're doing this year is they're taking auditions and spreading them out. Like you'll see a Savannah one 2 or 3 or 4 each week, and you'll see another town 2 or 3 or 4 each week, and another one 2 or 3 or 4 each week, which I think is a great thing because it keeps people in that part of the country interested every week because they're seeing folks from their area perform and get those golden Hollywood cards. But just to see the expression on those young kids' faces when they say you're going to Hollywood, and the reaction from the family and the friends it's very heartwarming. Katy Perry got out on the street there in Savannah. They had one performer there who was very good at her actions. She had a good stage presence, but her voice was right on the line. And Luke said no, and Katy Perry and Katy Perry was I think the deciding vote. And so they said, well, let's go out on the street. So Katy Perry and this girl did street performance right there in downtown Savannah. And it was just great. Just great. But seeing these young kids' dreams come true in a sense of being able to go to Hollywood is I think that's what makes American Idol is the emotions you see on these kids' faces. And Lionel Richie's like the dad there, trying to keep Luke Bryan and Katy Perry in line.
I see Chris still hosting it.
Yeah, he's still hosting it. I hadn't seen it in like 5 years or 5 or 6 years, so like the rest of us, you can see he's aged. He doesn't have that baby look on his face anymore.
Play trash. Jonathan mentioned Tony Romo got $17 million to stay with CBS, and they were talking about people in the radio that making all that money, and they see Chris was one of them. Howard Stern, the other, Rush Limbaugh, but they were talking about people in the radio making millions of dollars.
Well, that's only like 0.10000% of us.
They say Ryan Seacrest is up there making big time money.
Well, he has a live show there in L.A. Right. He has a live show there with one of the big stations there in L.A. every single day. Also, in addition to his hosting that, and I don't know if he still does a countdown show or not.
He's a Georgia boy.
He's a Georgia boy.
He graduated from Georgia.
Well, good. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day. All right, we do have that 40% chance of showers tomorrow, 30% tomorrow night. Hopefully that's not enough to affect the baseball game between Wayne County and Brantley County. Is that right?
It's good at 800 tomorrow. JV's there today, but varsity goes there tomorrow. We got a busy week for varsity Thursday here at home against Brunswick and Friday on the road at Appleton. So 3 games this week.
Okay. Well, Bob, anything else on your mind this morning?
Headed to the courthouse.
Headed to the courthouse? What's going on?
Headed to the probate office.
Probate office. What's happening there?
The election, qualifying for elections begins today.
Right. See all folks who paid the money.
Qualify. Yeah, who's going to put down the money? Saying you're going to run and running are two different things.
Yeah. Well, for most of the positions, it's not too bad. It's the some of them you do have to pay quite a bit. All right, Bob. Have a good day. All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jessup, with the builders by Murphy Builder Supply on Northeast Broad Street, right down from the Big Red Caboose, and by Nips Car Wash, located on Highway 301 South, just past McDonald's there on the left-hand side. A new laser-guided automatic car wash, 2 self-service bays.
World famous Butch and Bob Show.